I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I actually know what's about to happen in this Petscop episode. It is one of the few things that I remember from Petscop. Now, I don't know all the specifics of what's gonna happen. Like, I think there's some text. I don't know what that says. And it has also been a while since I've watched this one, too. So, I'll take that how you want to take that, I guess. But we're gonna react to it either way, because, well, I'm not just about to skip over this one, because then people are about to ask, hey, where's Petscop 16? Like, what the freak, man? And also, this one's short enough to, 2 minutes and 41 seconds. This is short enough to be another Theory Craft video, which it's been a while since I've had one that's short enough to qualify as, as a Theory Craft video. So we're finally gonna get around to that. I've only got about 2 theories that I want to touch on, and then I'll have a segment after where we get into the subtitle things, which I have actually kept up with, by the way. I actually kept my end of the deal, and we'll be talking about that later. But for now, let's get into Petscop 16, the only full episode that I remember, aside from the text. Okay, so frame 1. We are in the garage. There is a text box with no text, and it looks like there's a car in the garage. So that's interesting. Wait, no description has been added to this video. That's interesting, and it was uploaded October 31st, so you know this one's about to be spooky. Like, can you guys see that? It's kind of dark. Maybe I can brighten this up in editing, but it looks like there's some sort of car in the garage, like the red car from the bedrooms, and also from the road way back in Petscop 2 and 8, but mainly Petscop 8 when Paul was like moving back and forth on the road trying to get run over and then the cars were coming. So interesting. Maybe his game like froze or something. I don't know. Let's actually watch the video now rather than just looking at one frame. Oh, we got this music. So what's going on in the garage? I don't remember this bit. I don't remember the garage. So this is new to me. I don't know what's happening. What? Here we go. Okay, that's a lot more traumatizing than I remember, but yes, that's essentially what this video is, just trauma. The Petscop video. No controller input has been detected for a very long time. Family, neighbors, police, or whoever, keep the console running. Call provided phone number. There's been a lot of, of them saying, like, to keep the console on. When in episode 5, Tiara was like, turn it off. Turn this console off, you buffoon. And also we have another censored thing, but this one actually makes sense because it's a phone number, so obviously they don't want us calling in. So I assume then this is like what happens when like your controller turns off. Dang, this is a loud noise. Oh my goodness, dude. Someone pick up the controller. This is weird. That piano right there looks like the piano in that one loading screen that we found in the school, though. The piano that had, like, the circle and then there was the controller inside. Which I think would be the Needles piano that they were talking about with, Play Needles piano now, and also when they played Stravinsky Septet on the Needles. That's kind of cool. There's also a bed. I assume that's a chair because it's facing towards this TV-looking object. And then we have something else. I don't know. It's like a picture in a box. Is it, like, displaying what's on the screen? It can't be, because then it would be displaying itself. To me, it kind of looks like the house a little bit. And then we also got burn-in monitor, ghost room, testing room. So that's interesting. And then we also have this symbol up here. I don't know what that's talking about. And then there's this dot on the bed. So we must be, like, tracking somebody. That's really creepy. Oh, dang, that didn't last long. And now we're back to the trauma. Yeah. Let me drink some water. There's no water. So dang, they really want you to keep the console on. Dang. Okay, we're back here again. Yeah, this is the majority of the video, just going back and forth between trauma and tracking. Is this testing room like, what's the purpose of it? Okay, bye. Excuse me. Oh, we've skipped time, I guess. So what's gonna happen now? We're still The person's moving. The dot is moving, but the dot is like tracking a person. They're sitting down to play the game. Oh, they're about to pick up the controller. It's probably Paul, you know what? Yeah, so they might be tracking Paul, but that doesn't really align with another theory I had after looking at the subtitles of the previous episodes. So that's very weird. I wonder who else they could be tracking then. Anyway, now that we're done with that, we can get on to the theory crafting part.
Hello. This is a very sudden shift. I know. Basically, what happened was I was just doing the video normally, and I actually finished the video normally. But, first of all, there's some stuff in this subtitle stuff that I didn't include in the theories then that I probably should have included. And also, I just explained it so poorly that I was just like, nah, I gotta re-record this. So I'm at my dad's right now recording this. I mean, this isn't my normal room that I'm normally in, so obviously you guys can infer that this is my dad's house. And we're just gonna go through everything, all of these subtitles, and then I'll obviously bring in my main theories as they come up to pair with these subtitles. Sound good? Alright, let's go. So the first thing I found doesn't necessarily relate to the subtitles specifically, but I did bring it up again because in Petscop 1, the date on the note is June 13th, 1997, and I thought, hey, this might be important because we have a calendar now. Let's take a look at June 13th, 1997, and wouldn't you know it, there's actually something there. I think the first thing is a down arrow. I'm not sure about this one. Then it's a right arrow. This might be pointing left, actually, because the camera could be flipped. It's a down arrow, a right arrow, and then an X, which I feel relates back to the code that Paul put in to first access the Newmaker plane, like the down, 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 right start, because obviously they can't fit 5 down arrows in that one day. So that's what that could be referencing, which could also be referencing from a development standpoint when Raynor implemented the Newmaker plane into Petscop. It's an interesting theory, but I mean, who knows? There could be more stuff down the line that debunks this. I don't know. With the information I have, that's what I can infer from that. Now we're going to actually move on to the stuff that is actually part of the subtitles. So for Petscop 2, we have Sound of Dread and Foreboding, and this is when Paul looks at the school display. So in that room where it's like long hallways and then it kind of zigzags, and then there's the house, the school, and the windmill. When Paul looks at the school, there's an ominous sound, and apparently it's called the Sound of Dread and Foreboding, which makes sense considering what we know about the school and what happens there. We don't know what happens there, but we know that something bad happens there. So it makes sense if a Sound of Dread and Foreboding is playing because it's a very nasty place. Well, not a very nasty place, but some very nasty things happen there. And then we have a dark sound, which is when Paul keeps watching the windmill. So Paul looks at the windmill, stops looking at it. Tool is like, keep watching the windmill, Paul. And then Paul goes back, and then it goes like... It does the same thing in episode 6 as well. Those are called dark sounds, apparently. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I thought it was interesting to point out. Okay, we're gonna jump ahead a little bit now. Petscop 6, very quiet tune. After Paul catches Tonith, and it appears to be a Pitchtown version of the Caught theme in my... like, I've listened to it.
Oh my god.
It's interesting, though, that Tonith has this tune. But anyway, next up, Petscop 11. We're not talking about the Cares melody thing. I've already talked about that. What I want to talk about is instrument plays C note, which happens in Care's bedroom a lot. The C note wouldn't be interesting if it didn't have the same letter of, you know, you have Care, whose name starts with a C, and it's a C note. So I feel like it's a very obvious connection when you look into it a little bit, but I thought I'd point it out because I thought, you know, it was kind of cool. The C notes also sound very similar to the sound effects used for Care's melody later on. In a way, it was kind of foreshadowing, right? Now we have a lot more notes per episode. This is more of a sequence of subtitles. So at the very end of Petscop 13, Paul was making all these noises, and I'm like, what the freak is going on? We have Paul knocking on glass, probably knocking on a window, Paul moving in seat, Paul knocking on glass again, car door opens and car door closes. Now it's those last two that I'm really confused about, especially with the context of Petscop 16. Because if car door opens and car door closes, Paul has to be recording his Petscop gameplay from a garage, which is not where we find him in this episode that we just reacted to. We find him in the ghost room, or the testing room, or whatever. being tracked by Petscop. Now, the solution to this is very obvious. Maybe Paul's just in a different room. Very simple solution. Maybe Paul was in a garage in Petscop 13 and now he's not in a garage in Petscop 16. It's very possible, but we do know that he has to be in a garage in Petscop 13 and a garage with a window, so it can't be the garage from the house because that one does not have a window. That or Paul's knocking on the game's screen for some reason. I don't know why he would be doing that. Anyway, that's my theory about that. Now onto the important stuff, Petscop 14. So right off the bat, we have background music Explore Min. I'm at a loss with that one. I don't know what this is supposed to mean. Then Paul says, hey cat, how are you? Or no, sorry, hey cat, what are you doing? This just goes to confirm, because I was confused in Petscop 14 if Paul was saying it was pal or cat that I was confused between. And it seems to me that Paul has a cat? I'm not sure. We haven't really had any mentions of a cat so far. We've had mentions of a dog getting run over, but no cat. So this is weird. It is also possible that it's not important. Nextly, we have Paul hums Care's melody, and this one I'm actually going to need to show you. And this is just one of the many pieces of evidence, like, to point to Paul being Care. Obviously there's that conversation where Paul is referred to as Care, because it's a conversation that Paul had, but he's being called Care, so that's already evidence enough. Then there's the evidence that they look similar, are the same age, which also means they have the same birthday, because they're like exactly the same age. And then if Paul is humming Care's melody, that also makes sense. Another piece of evidence to show that Paul might be Care. And then there's also Petscop 16, where if Paul is Care, then that would explain why he's being tracked, because that'd be the only person, I mean, they could probably track Marvin or Tiara. People who are related to Petscop are being tracked, more specifically Paul in this episode. I don't know, it all just fits too cleanly together. I did also have a side theory that I came up with that Paul might be, so in Petscop 7 we found, when we combined Care with Mike's eyebrows, we got another room. That was the first room with a censored object in it. And I was thinking that could be Paul's room, and that could be like Paul's face. He could be a mixture of Care and Mike. That's about as far as that theory goes though. If this theory is correct though, and that is Paul's room, that would explain his reaction to seeing whatever the censored object is, because then it would be something he owns. So anyway, that's my Care is Paul theory, right? That's all that. We also have an interesting subtitle, Paul positioning microphone. This is when Paul is on the Petscop title screen after going into the garage. So I don't know, I just thought that was interesting, that Paul has a microphone. Then we have background music Lost plays in the parents' room when the real conversation begins. The real conversation obviously being the conversation that was sucked into the game that, you know, Paul had between, what was her name? Jill. So this is the music that plays there. Lost is another piece of evidence possibly confirming that Paul is Care. Because guess what? Care was lost wandering the Newmaker plane. This track is called Lost, and it plays during the conversation that essentially started this whole Paul is Care theory in the first place. The evidence is just piling on. And then as for Petscop 15, all we have is background music Girl World. So I don't know what that's essentially referring to. I don't know what Girl World is. It might just be the world that the girl was standing in that poster. So that's all my notes for now, and that's like the entire theory crafting session basically. So we're gonna end this now. So yeah, hopefully you guys all enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye!